This is the Kunjed Gyalpo, the all-creating monarch. This is from the book, The Ornament of Samantabhadra, translated by Valby. And I think we're still in the somewhat earlier sections that are talking about Dzogchen in contrast to the other yanas. We have the 9 Nyingma yanas, and so this is establishing the view of Dzogchen in contrast to the others. And it's for an audience of people who are experienced, maybe with the other yanas, which I am not. But even still, you can maybe in the descriptions of them find some common ground, because they're pretty common ways of interacting with things. When phenomena arise, what's the relationship to them? Are they seen as something to renounce, to purify, to transform? And so here we're just invited to look. It's not a judgment, We're not judging ourselves or really trying to correct a view or agree with someone's political position, what the correct view is. No, you're just looking, what's your actual relationship to phenomena? See what it is. And with this awareness practice, if you rest in the basis, whatever view you have will naturally settle itself. So let's read. This is called Chapter 9, Obstacles and Deviations. So then, the all-creating monarch, pure perfect presence, which again is your awareness. Remember, this is written like a play with the Dharmakaya and the Sambhogakaya aspects in communication. So here the Dharmakaya, the all-creating monarch, spoke about how the mistaken paths traveled by vehicles of cause and effect become obstacles for and deviations from Dzogchen. Oh, good. We guessed correctly. Oh, yeah, we're still talking about that. That's good. And so cause and effect, of course, means karma. And the vehicles of cause and effect would be vehicles 1 through 8. Everything from Shravakayana, Mahayana, Kriyayana, Kriya Yoga, Anu Yoga. Anything that has a result, cause and effect means result. You're creating a result. You're attempting to achieve something. Hey, Mahasattva. This essence of pure perfect presence is the source of all phenomena. Unborn and primordially pure, it has no obstacles. Transcending paths to travel, it has no deviations. Primordially self-perfected, it cannot be discovered. Remember, essence refers to Dharmakaya. If you remember the analogy of the dream, then the Dharmakaya is like the space in which the entire dream is taking place. The Sambhogakaya is, in this analogy, like the cognizance, fully permeating that dream space. And then the Nirmanakaya would be the dynamic energy that's creating the actual scene of the dream, and then the scene of the dream itself. So here, this essence, which is like space, it has no paths, no deviations. So the view here is that it's primordially self-perfected and cannot be discovered. Well, why can't it be discovered? Because discovered would make it objective. You would have to discover it as an object. There would have to be a discoverer, right? So making an object out of emptiness isn't emptiness. But there can be a recognition. Awareness, amazingly, can recognize itself, but not as an object. So this is what it is when you're resting in awareness. So it continues. The source of all phenomena is the one pure perfect presence. Deviations and obstacles arise when categories are created in the one presence. And when there's analysis is creating deviations, it's creating categories. Picking and choosing, you might have heard. Liking and disliking. So deviations, it says, arise when followers try to travel what cannot be traveled. Obstacles arise when followers look for, but do not experience, the non-referential state. Within the one state of everything, in just thatness, followers of the Bodhisattva vehicle, which is Mahayana, claim a later goal from practicing a cause. They claim to realize 10 levels, the bhumis, based upon 10 paramitas. For 3 aeons, they obscure the meaning and deviate from the state. And if anything isn't clear, just chime in. The followers of Kriya Tantra apply the 3 aspects of purity and the concepts of outer and inner, based upon 5 factors of manifest enlightenment and magical displays. Although they have pure and correct secondary samayas and obligations, they create deviations and obstacles for 7 human lifetimes. Followers of Upaya Tantra apply a cause and see an effect. They see the view and behavior as 2 separate aspects, and have deviations and obstacles in regard to non-duality for 3 human lifetimes. Followers of Yoga Tantra accept and reject in the one source. Because they do not experience the one, but experience a duality, they have deviations and obstacles for as long as they do not transcend acceptance and rejection. Followers of Mahayoga meditate 3 ways of being about the one self-originated wisdom. You should teach that these are deviations from the Lung teaching beyond struggle. Because followers of Anuyoga do not understand that the phenomena of the universe, however they appear, are the source, just thatness, they see space and wisdom, respectively, as cause and effect. And remember, wisdom here means dharmakaya, like emptiness. So because they affirm the cause and deny the effect, they have obstacles until they develop confidence in Dzogchen that transcends both affirmation and negation. Followers of these 6 types of vehicles claim to attain goals that are actually nothing other than presence, which we already have, right? There's no additional presence. And so, these yanas, as I've heard it taught, are contained within each other. So even in a previous section, we had the Ati view, for example, of Anuyoga. And ultimately, abiding in awareness is the same no matter how you get there, whether there's taking the fruit as the path or establishing causes. The problem is, if you establish causes to achieve this view, then those causes are like a little taint. It's like a little smudge, a slightly irritating belief that kind of obscures it a little bit. And so it creates a contrast where you have to keep creating this cause in order to bring about the effect of resting in awareness. Yeah, Dago.
Yeah, you reminded me of what Kuladasa said, that you have to keep on meditating to establish the view. And it reminds me also that in Dzogchen, it's very, very nuanced, this threshold between phase 2 and phase 3, where the very pride or anger or whatever you're trying to get rid of, awareness reveals that as purity, as what they call emptiness or empty luminosity. So we in here have taken this giant leap off the cliff where we say we're going to trust awareness to show the whole picture to us, or just to reveal it. Even the conditioned self, our perspectives and everything is revealed as pure luminosity. So it's different than using the conditioned causal mind to reveal emptiness, or to somehow cause emptiness, which sounds a little ridiculous. We just continue to hinge on awareness, and it will reveal, all these sort of clashes as wisdom.
Yeah, awesome. Well said. Thank you. And my personal opinion, what makes you a Dzogchen practitioner isn't like having this perfectly attained in some magical view. It's more of a willingness to put down the causes. If there is some subtle belief in a cause, there very well might be, you're willing to stop that. When you see it, you'll let it release. The only way you can maintain a cause is if you're holding it and not willing to put it down. So, if you're willing to practice this by letting everything be and letting things reveal themselves, then that's enough for Dzogchen. You're a Dzogchen practitioner. You're a Dzogchenpa, in my humble opinion. So, whether you're a practitioner of all these different things or not, and most of us here are not, you know, maybe never even have been, still you can see some commonalities in the view. You know, there will be subtle biases. There will be a bias, most likely, to a calm state as opposed to a very busy state, especially in the beginning. And that's okay. That's great. So don't feel bad. Don't beat yourself up, please. As long as you're open to see that and just let it sort itself out without you worrying about it, it will. It really will. Oh, yeah, Brian. Yeah, we can still talk about stuff though. Even though it'll all sort itself out, it's still fun to talk to your friends. No problem. Yeah, I know you know that too. I'm just saying. Now, where did we leave off? So, followers of these six types of vehicles aim to attain goals that are actually nothing other than presence. The first of these, the bodhisattvas, try to realize by establishing the two truths as the cause, which we've been talking about a little bit recently, right? And Dzogchen, the two truths would be relative and ultimate, or absolute. And so in Dzogchen, they're already a unity. We don't need to separate the two out for analysis. You can, if you want to. It doesn't do anything bad to do that. But it's just not necessary. They're not really contradictory, right? They're a unity. So followers of Kriya Tantra claim to achieve their goal through the practice of the three types of purity. Followers of Upaya Tantra claim to achieve their goal based on the separation of view and behavior. Followers of Yoga Tantra claim to achieve their goal by practicing acceptance and rejection. Followers of Mahayoga claim to achieve their goal through meditation upon the three aspects that bring knowledge. Followers of Anu Yoga claim to achieve their goal by seeing cause and effect as space and wisdom. These 6 types of vehicles, based upon specific achievements, constitute 6 deviations and 6 obstacles. Because these defects obscure and deviate from pure perfect presence, the defects and qualifications of these 6 vehicles will now be clearly explained. So followers of the Bodhisattva vehicle deviate from obscure presence because of concepts and analyses based upon the 2 truths. Yeah, so basically trying to figure it out. Separating relative and absolute, substance and function, you know? And then within that dichotomy, creating concepts about it and analyzing it. And again, this has been said recently. Yeah, go ahead, Doug.
I just wanted to compliment that. I mean, to a Dzogchen, the concept is like a bird flying by, no problem. But to them, it's the all-ruling monarch. That concept needs to be believed. It needs to be held. It's defining reality, right? So there's a contrast there.
Yeah, like whether there's a strong belief in the concept. We were talking about this recently. I really enjoyed the conversation yesterday. I wish we would have more dialogue style inquiries. That was great. But so we don't have a problem here with concepts or thoughts or analysis because there's no substance there inherently. So you can say, I'm speaking now using concepts. Just my experience is not actively solidifying concepts as I'm doing that, right? So in the same way, you can not you can feel somatically the clinging into a concept. You can feel objectification. So if you've ever looked at a cloud, Dawai brings this up very often. It's really worth trying. Look at a cloud and you'll feel when it snaps. Maybe it'll move, maybe it'll stop moving. Maybe you'll see things in the cloud, maybe you won't. But because there's nothing really to a cloud, it'll be very obvious to the mind when it has like a little grip. It grips the cloud just a little bit. And a cloud is a great object for this because you don't have a strong feeling about it. It's a really neutral space. Unless maybe you're a meteorologist or something, then you got to find something else. But if it's just a fluffy cloud to you, then wonderful. But if you get familiar with that feeling of what it's like to grip onto stuff, you can notice that in other situations. And then you'll know when you're making an object and you'll know when you're not making an object. And then you'll be really clear on the difference between a concept that you're clinging to and a concept that hasn't really even arisen as a concept for you. It's like a potential clinging. It just hasn't clung. And so even though everybody else might call it a concept, for you, it's just appearance. In that way, you don't have to fight even with concepts, even with analysis. Yeah, Joko.
Hey, good evening. I thought this was clarified really well the other night. I can't remember which night it was, but I think you said when a concept is the basis instead of the basis is the basis. Or like when I'm operating from my beliefs as the basis, or my religious convictions as the basis, instead of awareness being the basis. It's it really simplified what you're saying tonight for me. And I just got to point out, I know you've already hinted at it, but I think it's really interesting. I want to say it was John Kay. I could be wrong, but asked, about the 2 truths the other day to Dawai, and then we find ourselves reading about it today. And then the other little synchronicity is that Alicia and I were talking today. We got a long ride in the car together with Ayla, and we were talking about the different kanas and you know So just a funny aside. Thanks.
That makes sense. It's for you. Yeah, Dougal.
Yeah, I was also kind of, having some stuff come to mind. It's interesting that we use concepts totally different than we use fire or water, but they're the same. They have a similarity in terms of emptiness or appearances in general. So, if we're giving this whole teaching with water, for example, or even when we see books, that's made out of earth, right? And liquid. So we're actually reifying the elements here. And for some reason, concepts get treated different, but we could actually, when we use our memory, even if we ruminate or something proliferate, that's like drinking a glass of water, right? But if you're drowning in it, if you're making it your reality, if you're proclaiming it as some kind of substantially existent thing, and especially you must believe it, right? In this concept. Yeah, I think the distinction is coming up here as a little mini theme or whatever, and it's great. And I wonder, can we treat the concepts and the thoughts just like we treat water or fire or anything like that? Right? Food for thought.
Yeah, it's a wonderful theme. I guess concepts and thoughts are just singled out because they're so sticky for people. Kind of like an assumption that that's what people are grasping to the most. Start with the hard mode.
Yeah, they're closer to home, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, ultimately all the same. But that's the really nice thing about this practice is whatever you get good at, you know, any little revelation about what phenomena are, it applies to all the phenomena. So if you look at a stream and it relaxes, well, in the same way, anything can relax. It's quite nice in that way. Oh, great. So let's read on. So followers of Kriya Tantra deviate from and obscure the ultimate nature because of their concept of a duality of object and subject. Followers of Upaya Tantra produce deviations and obstacles because of their duality of view and behavior. Yeah, usually view and conduct, right? And so here we have don't lose the view in the conduct, don't lose the conduct in the view. Why would they be separate? So followers of Yoga Tantra have a view and behavior involved with acceptance and rejection. Followers of Maha Yoga are involved with struggles and achievements. And followers of Ana Yoga see a duality of cause and effect. Because all three of these vehicles go away from the real condition, they obscure and deviate from effortless total bliss. A pure perfect presence is like space. Looking into the real condition of space like presence itself, one sees that there are no views to meditate, no samayas to preserve, no sacred activities to perform, no obstacles to wisdom, no purifications and levels, no paths to travel, no subtle phenomena, no connection to make. Oh, Yeshi, I forgot the name of that list, but those are the 10 whatchamacallits. You pasted it the other day. I forgot the term. But basically, any view, any path, anything to uphold, anything to do about this practice. that's it. Yeah, the 10 attributes. Thank you. Yeah, so these are the 10 attributes. They're here too. And then Dzogchen, you know, why are there no samayas? Dawai says the 10 no-nos. Well, here they're all naturally held, right? What would you improve in awareness? So just seeing that there's nothing really to improve lets you rest. It lets you put down the part of your, you know, ego or whatever it is that keeps wanting to improve, which is really just a subtle desire to achieve a result. All this is always coming back to achieving a result. So here, the result is already naturally achieved. So you can rest. But you have to see that, right? You know, these aren't words to believe. Probably you couldn't believe it. If someone was hearing this, if I yelled it at someone on the street, they wouldn't believe it. Maybe here it's easier in this group because you have some experience, but it's because you have experience. It's because the people here rest and see their minds, have the bravery to do so, see how phenomena arise, see how they go away, notice awareness, notice grasping. This all builds confidence in. And with that confidence, then you can rest. And if there's burgeoning confidence or not a lot of confidence, well, that's great. That's why we practice. That's what the 10 minute sits are for. That's what the rest of your life is for. It's all just building that. So because it says here, presence is not dualistic, no conclusions to reach through definitive lung teachings other than presence, and no transcendence through upadeshas, which are like special instructions, since presence itself is beyond affirmation and negation. This is the view of Dzogchen, pure perfect presence. Because in the lower vehicles, 6 views of meditation arise about the one presence that cannot be seen. Deviant, obscuring ideologies are produced, deviating onto lower paths and obscuring the authentic condition. Because 6 obligations arise about the one bindu beyond preservation. Deviant, obscuring samayas are produced, causing deviation onto lower paths and obscuring primordial preservation. Because 6 types of sacred activities are diligently applied to the one effortless real condition. Deviant, obscuring spiritual deeds are performed, deviating away from and obscuring the effortless path. And again, just to say explicitly, in the Dzogchen that we practice here, you can do mantras, you can do ceremonies, you can do sacred activities. These are not cut off. It's exactly the same like we were talking about with concepts and thoughts. If you're into it, believing it, accomplishing a result from it, like really believing that there's a result, then it's erroneous. Then it'll correct itself. But if you're not, if it's just play, you know, Tuji energy, going wild, running amok, having fun, then you're free. You can do anything. You can do all these sacred activities. If you enjoy holding vows, you can hold vows. You can do whatever, but only without the grasping. Leo's asking here, I'm not familiar with how the term Tigle Bindu was used in the last passage there. Well, Yeshi, could you go up a bit? Thanks. Oh, sure. So the quote was 6 obligations arise about the one Bindu. So yeah, Tigle is of course the Tibetan for people on YouTube, and Bindu is the Sanskrit. The Dharmakaya, like the Shi, the 3 kayas in union, are said to be the great sphere, or the one Bindu. And so Bindu here means the 3 kayas in union. So that make sense? And Dawai says, without borders or edges. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, great. Yeah, that comes up a lot, so it's nice to call that out in other texts that we haven't read so recently. Yeah, so because 6 types of conceptual wisdom rise about the one clear light of unobscured wisdom, deviant, obscuring conceptual wisdoms are produced, deviating onto lower paths and obscuring the self face of Rigpa. Because 6 trainings arise about the one level beyond purification, deviant, obscuring training levels are produced, deviating onto lower paths and obscuring the Dzogchen state. Yeah, so there's no real progression in awareness. But even still, we can come here and share. In the context of self-liberation, then there is some amount of progression. There are explicit levels taught. Old friend, snake uncoiling, and thief in an empty house. That's a kind of progression. And it's like that just until it isn't. And that's fine. So because 6 paths tried to travel to the one indivisible state beyond travel, deviant, obscuring paths are produced, causing deviation onto lower paths and obscuring the supreme natural state. Because 6 perceptions arise about the one space beyond perception, deviant, obscuring ideas of subtle phenomena to perceive are produced, causing deviations and obscurations. Because 6 tantric connections to make arise about the one non-duality, deviant, obscuring ideas of tantric connections to be made are produced, causing deviations and obscurations. Because 6 specific conceptual truths arise about the one truth, deviant, obscuring Lung teachings are produced, causing deviations and obscurations. Because 6 vehicles try to communicate about the one real condition beyond communication, deviant, obscuring Upadesha teachings are produced, causing deviations onto lower paths and obscurations about the meaning of incommunicable Dzogchen. Because the source of all, pure perfect presence, is primordially self-perfected in its own nature, it is not necessary to use the 10 natures to search for and achieve this presence. I'm not sure what the 10 natures are. Or maybe the 10 attributes. Yeah, that makes sense. It must be what we just read, right? So here they're calling the 10 attributes the 10 natures. It says space is the example for my essence. No one can apply actions in pure space. When someone tries to act in pure space, space remains beyond all struggles and achievements. Similarly, because the all-creating source, pure perfect presence, my state, is beyond all dimensions, there has never been anything to meditate in me, cannot be seen. The 10 natures do not exist as something to apply in me, who transcends concepts. When followers of cause-oriented and goal-oriented vehicles use the 10 natures to search for me, they claim to see me and my essence. In the same way that beings fall to the ground when trying to walk in the sky, followers who use the 10 natures to travel fall down. Here is the explanation of my essence, the definitive root. Because I am beyond all dimensions, there is no view to meditate. And in the same way, struggling with the other 9 of the 10 natures makes no sense. So do not think that benefits derive from efforts with the 10 natures. Because I do not exist as an object to see by looking. Simply relax in just thatness without looking. Because presence is unborn and beyond concepts, and transcends causes to be beyond contamination, there is no need to preserve vows and morality. Because all beings are primordially self-perfected in the source, struggles and achievements are not necessary. Because self-originated wisdom is unobscured, the wisdom of Rigpa does not get brighter. Because all beings abide on my level, there are no levels to travel using purification. Because I abide in and pervade everything, no paths exist to travel to me. Because I primordially transcend object and subject, no named subtle essence of the real condition exists. Because my form pervades everything, no so-called dualism has ever existed. Because I am primordial, self-originated wisdom, I am not established through some other profound teaching. Because I am the source, the pure perfect presence of everything, there does not exist some other secret Upadesha instruction. Because I am beyond all affirmation and negation, I transcend the views of all teachings. Because there does not exist any dimension that is other than or not me, I have already transcended everything beyond the meditation of some view. Because there is nothing other than me to preserve, I have already transcended everything beyond the preservation of samayas. Because there is nothing other than me to perform, I have already transcended everything beyond sacred activities to perform. Because there is no place to be other than me, I have already transcended everything beyond levels to purify. Because obstacles have never existed in me, in my self-originated wisdom, I have already transcended everything. Because I am the unborn real condition, in my subtle real condition, I have already transcended everything. Because there is no travel other than in me, I have already transcended everything beyond paths to travel. Because everything, Buddhas, sentient beings, the animate and inanimate universe, manifests from me, the source, pure perfect presence, I have already transcended everything beyond dualities. Because everything is already established as self-originating wisdom, I have already transcended the discovery of a superior Lung teaching. Because no phenomenon is other than me, I, the All-Creator, have already transcended everything. The nature of obstacles is to not understand me. Deviations are pursuits of something other than me. There are two types of obstacles: obstacles of action and obstacles of knowledge. An obstacle of action is not seeing wisdom. So here, like Dharmakaya, awareness. An obstacle of knowledge is not understanding primordial liberation. Already freed. All phenomena, however they appear, are the essence of the source, pure perfect presence. The failure to perceive and understand this principle constitutes the essence of the two obstacles. I teach that trying to discover and accomplish something else is a deviation from Dzogchen. Hey, Mahasattva, listen. Although all phenomena, however they appear, are me, and nothing other exists. When practitioners create concepts about this state, they, by themselves, obscure my state and cannot understand my essence. So this would be holding to nihilism. either eternalism or nihilism. No view of emptiness, no view of negation, no view of affirmation. You see how that would be picking and choosing, right? Liking and disliking. When all phenomena, however they appear, are understood by Dorje Sattva to be nothing other than my state, Dorje Sattva being the Sambhogakaya, phenomena will be happily welcomed in non-conceptual equality. That's a really nice expression, isn't it? Phenomena will be happily welcomed in non-conceptual equality. Yeah, that's how it is beyond acceptance and rejection. They're welcomed. That's a very nice way to say, let it be. The meaning of this happiness is as follows. It is not necessary to struggle with the 10 great natures. When practitioners do not cultivate the 10 great natures, the unending 360 deviations and obstacles, 60 deviations and obstacles in each of the 6 vehicles, are transcended. Worth mentioning, transcended without antidote. Even though many different obstacles and deviations can arise, we don't have as many antidotes. Instead, what does it say? Taco asks, can you please name the 360 deviations and obstacles? No, no, I cannot. But if you find some good lists, definitely share them. Oh. Yeah, so how are they transcended here without antidotes? By not cultivating, it says. By not seeing them as something to be cultivated. By not producing them in the first place. What it's basically saying here is that the problems are kind of self-inflicted. By practicing a view of cause and effect, that's the problem. By applying an antidote within cause and effect of a different cause and effect, it's not really addressing the root of the issue. Oh, Yeshi has there's a footnote and it says there are 60 deviations and obstacles in each of the 6 vehicles. Oh. No overlap, huh? Oh, thanks, Yeshi. It's in the text, he says. Oh, I remember that. Yeah, from the last time we read it. Thank you. Hey, Mahasattva. I smile every time. You should try it. It's fun. All phenomena, however they appear, are direct manifestations of me, the source, pure perfect presence. Because no phenomenon other than this presence can be shown, I teach that practitioners should not think that there are phenomena other than my presence. In the same way that I teach to these groups of retinues, you, Mahasattva, should teach to future disciples. Thus he spoke. So from the all-creating monarch, pure perfect presence, bodhicitta, this concludes the 9th chapter about the removal of the defects, deviations, and obstacles. That was lovely, very clear. Any comments or questions? There aren't 84. I think there are 67 or 69. It includes the full Kunjed Gyalpo, plus an addendum for people who require a path of meditation. So it's like the highest level in the Aro Yeshi Jungne, and then the medium, what did he call it? Medium of the highest. Yeah, some chapters are missing in this translation. So it doesn't include all of them. It includes the ones that the commentary covered, which is, as I understand the classification, the main body, the addendum for meditators of medium ability, and it omits the one for meditators of lower ability. Yeah. Yeah, maybe we can find it though. I don't know if anyone's translated that one. I certainly haven't seen a translation of it. Yeah, lots of cool stuff in the Kunjed Gyalpo. Well, thanks for going through it together, everyone. It was really fun. Oh, thank you. Yeah, thanks for being patient with me as a host. I'm learning here. I'm not trying. So thank you very much. Oh, Leo, so this is, yes, you're being very patient. This is it's published in 6 volumes by Jim Valby. And so this first book that we're going through contains chapters 1 through 10, and then we'll switch to the next volume. But it has 60 something chapters, and we just finished 9. And I'll have a bunch of different themes that'll switch up. The Cuckoo of Awareness, for example, is a chapter in the Kunjed Gyalpo. I think 37, but I don't remember exactly. So probably, as we go through however long we're reading this, whatever we're doing in the group, we'll probably find fun synchronicities along the way. I think it'll keep being fun. Yeah, thanks, Yoshi. He is Link. Tago says 5 dogs correlate to the 5 wisdoms. Please tell also so he can add it to the chart. Oh, very nice. Well, with that, thank you, everyone. It's always good to end on a joke. Thank you, Dawai. So if there's any merit we may have generated here today, there are sentient beings in this presence who are suffering. We can give all the merit to them and be with them in a moment of silence. Thank you, everyone.